Hey stranger, welcome to the stage of history. If you are part of the fighting game community, you probably know Maximilian, and you may have watched one of his streams. The song that plays at the start, covered by Little B, is the opening to my favorite fighting game of all time, Soul Edge, or Soul Edge in Japan.
Many people may think this series started with the first SoulCalibur on Dreamcast, but it all started by Soul Edge in 1996 in arcades and the same year on console with PlayStation 1. To this day, I don't understand why it didn't leave a mark as strong as games like Tekken 3. It had everything a casual player would want in a fighting game. Not only it had amazing graphics and soundtrack, it had a deep story mode. It even had multiple endings for characters. Today, I want to dive very deep in a fighting game that made my childhood and specify why Soul Blade was and still is one of the best fighting games ever made. I will go through every character's story mode and explain everything else as I go on. Timestamps are in the description if you want to jump into any specific section.
I'm Purix, and this is the ultimate Soul Edge Retrospective.
Transcending history and the world, a tale of souls and swords, eternally retold. Usually when you want to explain a fighting game, you immediately talk about how cool the fighting style of a character is. But in Soul Blade, the narrative is so captivating that it deserves to take center stage. You get your final cutscene if you finish the game in arcade mode, just like any other fighting game at the time. But it's the other mode, the Edge Master mode, that really shakes things up when it comes to narrative. The game suddenly dives deep into lore-driven storytelling, something akin to Dark Souls, with movesets, locations, and even costumes becoming important details. The basic premise of the story is pretty simple. There exists a cursed pair of swords known as Soul Edge. Every character in the roster wants this weapon for their own reasons, some to save lives, some for greed, and some for personal motives. But the twist is that these swords aren't what they seem at first. Think of them as the ring from the Lord of the Rings. They possess great power, but using them comes at a price. In Edge Master mode, we follow each character's journey across the world, collecting weapons along the way, until they reach Soul Edge and witness their fate unfold as they pick up these cursed blades. So let's start with none other than the poster boy himself, Eiichiro Mitsurugi. Upon selecting him, we see a sneak peek of all the weapons you can unlock with Mitsurugi, a montage that plays the first time you select any character in Edge Master mode. Afterwards, we find ourselves on the world map. This is where you navigate between fights, with each location representing the next chapter in the journey. The game has a low fantasy setting. The world includes real countries with some altered historical events. To continue, we read from a book the game shows us. This text-based storytelling makes up the bulk of the narrative, and while the localization isn't amazing, it has its charms. Each one starts with a biography of our character, from their name and height to their family and fighting style. Our Mitsurugi is a short king who wields a katana named Korofuji. His style is simply listed as Mitsurugi. In later games, his style is called Tenpokusei Ryokai, a form he developed through countless battles. It's essentially his own creation, so I guess that's why they just called it Mitsurugi here. Within the book, we discovered that Mitsurugi was the son of a farmer. He enjoyed his life, but after years of seeing his beloved farm ravaged by war, he grew disillusioned. It's better to raid than to be raided, he said. Mitsurugi studied swordsmanship under a clan lord at the age of 14. In every sense of the word, a child soldier. His attacks during battles made him feared. That's when he got the name Mitsurugi. From his kanji, I believe that translates to heavenly sword. He has been known to mow through foes as if they were like a field of wheat. Mitsurugi was known for a spectacular battlefield record and had received several commendations as an officer, but military commissions were rejected by him. Eventually, the Yurikami clan, a historical samurai family from the Sengoku period, was left by Mitsurugi, much to their regret. He wanted to pursue a career as a freelance mercenary, seeking only worthy adversaries. During his time at war, he heard of a weapon called Tanegashima, a matchlock rifle. What is this? A firearm? It cannot be so powerful, it looks like a pipe. This is an actual weapon from the Sengoku period, famously used by Oda Nobunaga to fend off the Takeda cavalry, and my history nerd brain loves that the game included that. Mitsurugi's entire drive is to find a weapon more powerful than the rifle, otherwise every war going forward will be decided by tools, not warriors. That's when he hears about the legendary Soul Edge. That's it! This weapon can overpower the firearm. And so Mitsurugi's journey to claim Soul Edge begins. Our first stage is a haunted temple, rumored to be inhabited by demons. Mitsurugi, thrilled by this information, heads for the shrine. There we find our first enemy, the Rock. Let's have a quick summary of how Soul Edge plays. This is a 4-button fighting game with 3 attack buttons and 1 guard button. 1 or square is a fast and weak horizontal attack. Since this is a 3D fighter, this move is useful for catching side steps. 2 or triangle is a slower, more powerful vertical strike meant to catch crouching opponents. 4 or circle is a kick. Its speed and damage vary depending on the character. 3 or cross is your guard. It's safer than ducking and sidestepping, but weapons in this game have HP just like you. Blocking drains their durability, except for when you block kicks. If it reaches 0, you'll lose your weapon during the round. Some of your moves can also ring out your opponents to end the round instantly. Now, there aren't complex combos in this game, just a few juggle combos and basic strings. The real depth in this game comes from spacing and smart movement. We have a great risk-reward system as the foundation here. I'll explain more as we go on, but this will suffice for now. This big guy is said to be possessed by a demon, and the game conveys that through gameplay. His health regenerates, so we have to defeat him fast. These fights aren't just default arcade matches, they're unique to this mode and usually reflect the story told in the book. Now, these fights are also unfair. If you've noticed, we have to win 2 matches, but can only lose once. Our next opponent in the second round is our doppelganger. After this mirror match, the book pops up again and wraps up what happened. Mitsurugi searches the shrine for Soul Edge. I love how the characters don't know where the sword actually is, or even how it looks. He finds a weapon inside the shrine named Onimaru, the life drinker. Again, another gameplay choice that fits the story. You find a cursed sword in a cursed shrine. You can equip the weapons you find throughout the game in the weapons menu. This is one of the defining features of this game. While your default weapon has completely balanced the stats, the ones you find can change your game plan drastically. This new weapon Onimaru deals way more damage than our previous sword, but it drains our HP with each attack, fitting its title, Life Drinker. We reach the pirate fortress Noto Castle. Mitsurugi is tasked with guarding the castle in return for his passage to the continent. There we face the ninja Taki, the bait of SoulCalibur. Taki is here to take back the sword we looted in the previous area, suggesting she has some connection to the shrine we just came from. We have limited time to defeat her. After her defeat, the chief counselor recognizes our efforts and gives us a new sword called Iron Slasher. This new weapon has high strength, meaning it can quickly drain the opponent's weapon durability, making it especially effective against passive and guarding enemies. We then travel to Korea, passing through a temple at the foot of Mount Chi, said to have been rebuilt several times. Here we face Seung Mi-na, a 16-year-old girl with a polearm. Now, I mentioned earlier that these fights usually reflect something in the story, but not all of them do, and this is one of those cases. Here we're forced to win using throws, even though there's no narrative reason behind it. Still, it changes the pace and helps the game avoid feeling repetitive. Throws are a bit too strong in this game. They're hard to break unless you're an AI that can read inputs. Like most fighters, throws counter overly defensive players. Here they also work well as punishes, since they have very short startup frames. Every character has at least 2 of them. Some deal more damage, some side switches, and some can even cause ring outs. To break them, you have to guess which throw the opponent used and match their input exactly. And for some reason, the second throw has a terrible input. The first one is 1+3, that's cross and square. Pretty simple. But the second one is 2+3, cross and triangle. It's hard enough just to perform the throw. To break it, you have to break your hands first. So I recommend mapping this throw to one of your shoulder buttons. Mitsurugi has a high damage throw that side switches, and a slightly weaker one that can cause a ring out. 2 of the stronger throw is enough to take out Seung Mi-na. After her defeat, we hear a rumor about a person searching for a weapon called the Patriot Sword. Soul Edge goes by many names throughout the game, as if people gave it names they wish the sword represented, and I love this detail. Mitsurugi thinks to himself that this Patriot Sword might be Soul Edge, so he sets out to find this mysterious man. We then travel to China. There's a canal here that provides a means of transportation for travelers. As we travel on a raft, we're suddenly attacked by a stranger. We avoid a fatal blow but receive a small scratch from the enemy, and it turns out to be poisonous. Our enemy Li Long seems to know us. Presumably, Mitsurugi killed his wife. It's interesting how Namco's fighting game poster boys are all deeply flawed characters. These fights get harder as we progress, and as far as I know, changing the difficulty in the options menu won't affect this mode, unless I'm just too stupid to understand. Here, Li Long doesn't just fight you, he stays on the defensive and parries your attacks, trying to delay the fight as much as he can. can. We are poisoned after all, and we die if we don't finish him quickly. After this bitter fight, Li Long flings himself into the river, uttering his last words, "Chie." So far, it's unclear whether Mitsurugi actually killed this man's wife, but it's something that stays in your mind until you play as Li Long and find out. It's fascinating how this game pits characters against each other and gives you bits and pieces of their story, encouraging you to play them later. He then loots Li Long's possessions, finding an antidote for the poison and the legendary blade called Kojiro's sword. Kojiro was one of Miyamoto Musashi's rivals, said to have slightly longer blade than usual, and that's exactly what this weapon is. It's 50% longer than our normal swords, giving us 50% more reach. For a game so focused on spacing, this sword transforms Mitsurugi into something else. Continuing our pursuit, we reach an ancient fortress in the desert. The man we're following is waiting for us, ever we've been trailing him. "Hey you, what do you want from me?" Mitsurugi, at a loss of words, just draws his sword to fight. This is Hwang Song-kyung, a hero sent to find the so-called Soul Edge to save his country. You have to defeat him with juggle combos for some reason. As a kid, this was a nightmare. I couldn't even read English, let alone perform a launcher into a combo. After his defeat, we loot a map from him that helped us travel to the Western world. We then find ourselves at the Colosseum inside a secret arena. This stage is a staple for most characters. It doesn't serve much of a narrative purpose, but it's always fun to play. It's basically a gauntlet with different opponents for each character. For Mitsurugi, it's a tough one. You have to fight 5 opponents in a row. Your health regenerates between fights, but only a limited amount. Since you have infinite time, it's better not to rush and play more carefully. As much as I liked Kojiro's sword, I used Iron Slasher here to play more defensively. I know I just said that this stage doesn't serve a narrative purpose, but it's interesting that we have 2 secret opponents and the last one is Li Long, as if he came back to exact revenge again. As a reward, we gain Water Moon, an ultra defensive weapon that regenerates your health mid-battle. The defense stat determines how much damage you take when you're not blocking, so this weapon is perfect if you're trash at the game. We then head to Germany, where Castle Ostrinusburg is under siege by Marquis Andre's forces, said to hold a stash of weapons from all over the world. Maybe Soul Edge is among them. So we join the Marquis as a mercenary. While searching the castle, Mitsurugi is attacked by another hired sword from the enemy's side, Siegfried Stauffen. With only 15 seconds before the fort collapses, we have to take him down fast. This is a tough fight, because Mitsurugi isn't a powerhouse when it comes to damage. After the fight, Mitsurugi lectures Siegfried. "You have great skill, but you cannot close in to finish." He then leaves Siegfried behind to venture into the burning castle. Instead of Soul Edge, he finds the two-handed sword, a weapon that appears throughout the series, even in SoulCalibur 6. It has no gimmicks but boasts ridiculously high stats, making our first weapon completely obsolete. Next up is the Secret Treasury, a money pit built by a weapons merchant named Virchi to store his fortune. Here we have to fight Voldo. He's kind of a sub-boss in the game. You'll most likely face him before the final boss. But before diving into the battle, I should mention the level's aesthetics. It's gorgeous for a PS1 game. Flags swinging in the wind, debris falling to the ground. It's truly a spectacle, and it's true for nearly every stage. But it also comes at a cost, and maybe the game's biggest flaw. The game is locked to 30 frames per second. Having 60 FPS in a fighting game is a big deal. I don't know how much backgrounds can eat up performance, but Tekken 3 with its console-defining visuals ran at 60, largely because its backgrounds were just the skyboxes. Anyway, onto the battle. Here, no amount of regular attacks will damage Voldo. To damage him, you have to use a mechanic called Critical Edge, performed by pressing all 3 attack buttons at once. It consumes 1/3 of your weapon's durability and trigger a combo string, which you can extend by inputting additional buttons. Quick tip here, to extend a combo you need to press the input right before the current string ends. After ripping Voldo open, Mitsurugi searches the vault for Soul Edge and finds a note addressed to Virchi. The pirate had captured Soul Edge and kept it to himself. We also find the weapon Falx in the treasury. Its stats are decent, but its real strength is in its weight, the only stat that's actually better than lower. A lighter weapon makes your attacks faster, or to get a bit nerdy, it sends your frame data through the roof. Following the notes, we travel to Spain and arrive at the pirate ship Adrian, owned by the infamous Cervantes. There stood a man holding 2 swords that pulsed as if alive. "Ah, I've been waiting for you. I want your hot soul for my blades." That's kind of an erotic way of putting it. "And I have waited long enough for those hot blades." Okay, that's not PG anymore. This is our final battle. Cervantes is tough. He has tons of mix-ups and strings that look nearly identical, making him difficult to defend against if you're not familiar with his moveset. Upon defeat, he rises again. His flesh turns into fire, his head melts into a skull, and the world shifts into a hellish environment. Is this the fate of anyone who wields these swords? Soul Edge is the final boss of the game. He shares his moveset with Cervantes, but he has some extra moves as well, like right teleporting directly above you to perform a skull splitter. After his defeat, the book opens again to reveal the fate of Mitsurugi. He holds Soul Edge in his hands, then raises it to the heavens and shatters it in one slash. Then, in disgust, he turns his back and walks away. This could not be the sword of legends. This sword is evil. Mitsurugi continues his search for a weapon stronger than the rifle somewhere else. If you've played the later SoulCalibur games, you'll see him having the same mindset. My favorite is in SoulCalibur 4 when he tells Algol, the final boss, weapons are just tools. True strength lies within. At the credits, we see all the weapons we found throughout our journey, but right at the end we see a sword that we don't own yet. This is the ultimate weapon for our character, and obtaining it is frustrating. After you finish Cervantes, the ultimate weapon can be found in a different country adjacent to Spain. It's random. There are two possible locations here, and the weapon could appear in either. Every time you lose the fight, the weapon moves again. So my suggestion is to save before the fight and reload if you lose. But the ultimate weapons are absolutely worth it. They usually change your whole playstyle. Mitsurugi's ultimate weapon is Murasame. Not only does it have extreme attack power, it also makes guarding almost meaningless, because it deals 95% damage even on block. Now, the ending we saw in Edge Master mode was actually the original arcade version. The one we see in arcade mode is console exclusive. It's usually the same story from the slideshow, just animated in engine, but with better conclusion. As for Mitsurugi, after destroying Soul Edge, we face one final opponent, Tanagashima. We fight the rifle itself in first-person mode, dodging bullets and charging toward the gunman. There are two conclusions depending on whether we win or lose. If we lose, we see a disappointed Mitsurugi thinking he still needs to find a weapon stronger than the Tanagashima. But if we win, he finally understands. It doesn't matter how powerful the weapon is, he needs to become stronger. His training has just begun. Finally, let's talk about Mitsurugi's design. Every character in this game has 3 costumes, one which was added in the console release through a fan contest. His alternate costume has him heavily armored, clean-shaven and with tightly tied hair, likely from the time he served the Yurokami clan. His main costume is more rugged, with a shaggy hair and unkempt beard, and also a vibrant blue color palette, more of a sword for hire than a disciplined samurai. I would have said it was inspired by Vagabond, but Soul Edge predates that manga by 2 years. It's such a shame that his main costume wasn't built upon in later games. They usually reference the alternate one instead. The third costume isn't anything to write home about, just some green clothes and a chubbier frame, but it's still a good addition for variety and is actually closer to Sengoku period in terms of historical accuracy. Next up, we have Siegfried, a 5'1" 16-year-old who wields a Zweihander. What could possibly go wrong? I don't know who is the most miserable fighting game character ever created is, but Siegfried is definitely up there. Siegfried had a father known as the Gentle Knight, a kind man who fought him swordmanship. But one day his father left on a crusade, leaving Siegfried and his mother Margaret behind. Without his father's guidance, Siegfried fell into bad company and started committing crimes. He grew more powerful every day until he formed his own band of thieves known as Schwarzwind or Blackwind. The game doesn't elaborate much about this group, but there are comic books and light novels that do. A kind soul on Tumblr even translated parts of them, along with concept arts from the official Soul Edge arts book. Unfortunately, most of that material is still in Japanese, but I'll link her Tumblr account in the description. Siegfried then launched his twisted master plan, hunting down knights who deserted the crusade and looting their armor and valuables. That night, as a war-weary group approached, the thieves sprang their ambush. They defeated the knights all too easily.
I never had such an easy victory.
Siegfried killed the commander himself with his proud Zweihander. He held the commander's decapitated head up high in triumph, but as the moonlight shone down, he let out a horrified scream. In his hand was the head of his father, Frederick. Yelling in grief and fear, he fled into the forest. He plunged deeper into insanity, convincing himself that someone else had killed his father, and he became determined to find and avenge his father's death. All of this done by a 16-year-old. This boy is a mess. He basically lives in Silent Hill. Hell, he even looks like James Sunderland. And somehow he convinces himself that he needs Soul Edge, not because he knows he's responsible, but because he's chasing the idea of some skilled, terrifying swordman killed his father and Soul Edge can defeat him. Man, what a tragic backstory. We begin his quest at Ostreinsborg Castle, and what do you know? We fight Mitsurugi here. That's one of the smartest things about Soul Edge's storytelling. Well, we fought Siegfried in the middle of Mitsurugi's journey. For Siegfried, this moment is his very first battle. It makes the world feel alive, like other characters don't just stop existing resting because you picked someone else. Just like before, this castle is rumored to hold many weapons. Siegfried, thinking Soul Edge might be among them, gets himself hired by Estefan, the owner of the castle, just to steal it when the opportunity comes. That's when he bumps into Mitsurugi, who's looking for the same thing. Siegfried is a slow character, but he has incredible reach and high impact attacks that makes him great for ring outs. After the fight, Siegfried enters the blazing castle, kills his commander Estefan, and takes his sword Greenblade. Believing he's finally found Soul Edge, he holds it up and says, "Grants me invincible power." But as we know, this isn't Soul Edge. Disappointed and anxious, he runs into the forest crying out, "Father! Father!" Siegfried then travels to Greece. He reaches a temple built by the blacksmith god Hephaestus. He meets a girl named Sophitia. She was the champion of the gods. "You're seeking the evil sword, aren't you? That sword is too dangerous for you. Let me help." Given how Siegfried has behaved so far, we know he isn't looking for help. He just wants to kill and loot people. I equipped the newly acquired, or should I say stolen, Greenblade, which has amazing attack power but drains your HP. This is an unfair fight. We have to defeat two Sophitias, one who regenerates health as if the Greek gods are helping her, and also our own doppelganger. After the fight, Siegfried calls out to the gods, "I defeated your little girl. Now give me the invincible sword." But the gods remain silent. So he lays waste to the shrine. Oh boy, this kid needs to be stopped. In the rubble, he finds another weapon, Atlas sword. I guess the gods were mocking him because this sword not only slows your startup frames due to its weight, it also deals way less damage. Equip this only if you're terrible at the game and want to regenerate a scam amount of health mid-fight. We then reach the Colosseum for another gauntlet, ending with another fight against Sophitia, this time without her gauzy armor and blonde hair. Coincidence? Our reward is the Flamberge, a fast sword with high attack power. Next, we head into the desert and find out Rock has been following us from the arena, hunting the weapon we want. Here the desert drains our HP like poison, so we have to defeat him quickly. After the battle, Siegfried kills yet another man. The Rock expired. Siegfried then travels to Japan, reaching Noto Castle, now in the hands of pirates. Obviously, our good boy Zeke gets hired by the pirates to guard the place, and just like Mitsurugi, we face the bait herself Taki. And just like before, we have to defeat her within a time limit, but this time it's only 12 seconds. I love how we experience the same encounters through different characters. It makes you eager to find out how they unfold from each perspective. After her defeat, we're rewarded with the 7-branch sword and a passage to continue our journey. This new sword has only 1 point in power, so it's useless, even though it can recover its durability gauge. We then travel through the canal again. Siegfried has heard a weapon thief is stealing swords from travelers, so he goes to investigate, and of course we run into Li Long. "Surrender that sword! You'll get my sword in your gullet!" After defeating Li Long with grabs, he runs away, just like before. Upon looting his stash of stolen swords, Siegfried finds a large Chinese blade called Heartsteel Blade. Just like Mitsurugi's 6th weapon, this one has better stats in every way than your starting sword. Once again, we reach Verchi's secret treasury and face Voldo. We learn that Siegfried once tried to break into this place with his band of thieves and failed. This time isn't much better. He gets wounded by traps just trying to get inside. With all that heavy armor, he doesn't exactly look agile enough to dodge traps. We start this battle already injured with almost no health. And if that wasn't enough, we have to beat Voldo twice. After the fight, Siegfried interrogates Voldo for Soul Edge's location until he dies without revealing anything. Then he searches the vault and finds the same note we found with Mitsurugi, revealing Soul Edge's location along with a new weapon, Claymore. I don't know why Claymores are always good in games, and this one's no different. With a weight of just 1, it makes Siegfried surprisingly fast and incredibly fun to use. We then travel to Spain to face Cervantes and obtain Soul Edge. After defeating him, we witness one of the most tragic endings in any fighting game. We read how Soul Edge plunges its claws into Siegfried's hand and see him transform into a monster, screaming as he loses his sanity. A dark knight stands under the full moon ready to plunge the world into chaos. Siegfried doesn't get a good ending. His ultimate weapon is in fact Soul Edge itself. It looks disturbingly alive even without the iconic eye it gets in later games. Fun fact, only 3 Soul Edge weapons exist in the game. One we saw with Cervantes and one we just gained with Siegfried. Can you guess which other character character gets a third variant. Finishing arcade mode gives us an even darker depiction of this ending. Seeing him scream as he turns into a monster was nightmare fuel for me as a kid. I remember thinking that objects could stick to my hand and turn me into something else. But we can't change the ending. There's a brief moment in all endings where the cinematic black borders disappear, and if you input a specific button sequence at that point, you can change the fate of these characters. It's a hidden feature that even some longtime fans may not know about. As for Siegfried, the alternate ending shows him destroying Soul Edge, then plunging his sword into a mountain, lost and unsure of what to do next. An unknown fate, but a far better one for sure. Now let's talk about his costumes. Siegfried actually has 4, because his prototype nightmare form is unlockable as a costume with the same moveset. His default outfit shows him in a more grounded, nicely form. His alternate, in red armor and a helmet, looks like it's been painted in blood. His third costume is pretty generic. In the artwork they stated that it makes him look like a good guy. But the prototype nightmare design is so surreal. It captures that low fidelity PS1 feel that shows something you can't clearly make out. Siegfried is such a tragic character, and it's always exciting to see what direction they take him in with every new entry. But next up, we have Li Long. Let's finally see what the deal is with him and his dead wife. This 5'5", 24-year-old man, were all these guys younger than me, is an assassin sent by the Chinese emperor to kill the leader of Japanese Waifu pirates, seafaring raiders who plagued the coast of China and Korea during the 13th to 16th centuries, and also to find a valiant sword Soul Edge. But he didn't care about some sword, he just wanted to kill the Japanese because of the war. So not only did he target the Waifu leader, he also went beyond the limit of his mission to assassinate lords and such. But at some point, he failed and got injured. That's when Chie finds him, the daughter of an innkeeper who lost her ability to speak when her mother died, which the game later forgets for some reason. She tends to his wounds and they begin to fall in love. What could possibly go wrong? When Li Long was away, a fight breaks out in the inn and Chie presumably dies. When Li Long asks around about who did this, they say it was a wandering swordsman. Eyewitnesses for some reason thought it could be the famous Heishiro Mitsurugi. So what did our assassin boy do? He went on a spree hunting every wandering swordsman until he finds our killer, including Mitsurugi. But things got interesting when he heard that Mitsurugi is also looking for Soul Edge. So he thinks to himself, if he finds it first, Mitsurugi will come directly to him. The first section of his story is about hunting down Mitsurugi, so we basically replay the same stages from his route, starting with the Demon Shrine. Li Long thought he could ambush Mitsurugi there, but he didn't find him. Instead he faced the rock. Now you may have thought Li Long uses nunchucks, and he actually does in the other versions, but the version I'm playing is the European one. Nunchucks were considered illegal in Europe, so they replaced them with 3-section staff. It's very stupid but funny at the same time. Li Long is a pretty fast character with some long strings. He even has fireball motions, both forward and backward. His monkey magic move is a standout. Speaking of fireball motions, Mitsurugi also had one, but it performed more like how the Mishima's Misstep works in Tekken. After defeating the possessed rock, Li Long steals his weapon and modifies it into a new weapon called Snake Wind. This weapon basically deals cheap damage, a perfect fit for a fast character. To follow Mitsurugi, he heads to Noto Castle, the second stage we played in Mitsurugi's path. And boy oh boy, instead of Toki we have Siegfried here. So basically with each character events unfold differently. Here Siegfried didn't fight Mitsurugi at Otstrinisport Castle or Li Long at the canal, but he did appear at one of the stages he eventually reached in his own adventure. Just like all the Noto Castle stages, this one is also timed. So we have to defeat this cringe boy before the guards find us. After the fight, Li Long gains the weapon Titan, which is basically a hammer nunchuck, and continues the search for Mitsurugi. Titan is an overall good weapon with high stats and no specific gimmick. Now we're at the famous canal where we face Li Long with both Mitsurugi and Siegfried. Here Li Long mentions that he doesn't know what Mitsurugi looks like. That way he justifies hunting every swordsman traveling on this river. So he fights 3 women? Li Long fought several swordsmen, but Mitsurugi didn't show up. My dude, you know Mitsurugi is a guy, right? One of these girls doesn't even wield a sword. Anyway, he then crafts another weapon from the parts he looted from 3 not swordsmen called Phoenix. Next up, we hit the desert. We find someone who matches Mitsurugi's height, but he's clearly not Japanese. So you do know how he should look. This time we have to fight Hwang, and just like in Mitsurugi's fight with him, we need to defeat Hwang with juggle combos. After the fight, Li Long loots his weapon and presumably crafts another one from it. This time the Steel Dragon. This big black staff has a high strength and can destroy enemy weapons like butter. Next up, the good old Colosseum. He hears that a Japanese swordsman is competing, so he rushes in to enter. This is one of the hardest fights in in the game. We have to survive 6 matches and all of them are against opponents we've faced so far. It feels like they're taking revenge for their stolen weapons being turned into staves. I mean, they all have different weapons here. At the end, we finally face Mitsurugi with the cursed sword he stole at the shrine. When Li Long defeats him, he starts interrogating. Confess, you killed the daughter of an innkeeper. You are mistaken, I would never kill a woman. Okay, so Mitsurugi isn't a psychopath, but he's a bit of a sexist. Li Long immediately believes him and thinks to himself, if not him,
then who killed Captain Alex? Who?
For some reason, Li Long is now focused solely on gaining Soul Edge. His anger and thirst for revenge are clearly getting to him. Our reward for this fight is White Tiger, a nunchuck with maces at both ends. It's a bit on the heavy side, but it has a bite. We then head to the secret treasury in Italy to fight Voldo, but strangely enough, we also face Taki as our second opponent. I guess we'll find out why this happened when we play as Voldo. After the fight, Li Long picks up Versy's famous note and gains a new weapon called Ashura. This weapon is fast and high damage, though it's bad at breaking enemy weapons. We then head to Spain to obtain Soul Edge. We fight Cervantes like before, but something happens here that doesn't happen with any other character.
Li Long collapses mid-win pose. He was presumably injured during the fight without realizing it.
I mean, he was becoming reckless. He also had longer matches than the other 2 characters we played so far. Before he can reach Soul Edge and hold it in his hands, poor Li Long dies, calling out his dead wife's name as his final words. Then we're hit with a twist. Chie actually survived. She was saved by some wandering monk. It's a pretty lame twist, but it somehow makes everything feel even more sad. She waited a month for Li Long to return, but he never did. But their love did leave behind a child. I guess I have to censor that part. Lastly, Li Long's final weapon is called Twin Thunder. It's simply a powerful and a fast nunchuck. Now, in the arcade ending, things are more interesting. The default ending is the same, but the alternate one is even more tragic in my opinion. After mashing a square and triangle, Li Long succeeds to crawl towards Soul Edge, and then he hallucinates that Chie is alive. At first, it feels like some cringe power of love moment, but as he hugs the ghostly figure, he realizes that he's actually holding Soul Edge. Then he makes his way home with that cursed blade. Who knows what will happen when he finds Chie with that sword in his hand. Li Long's costumes are interesting. His main features baggy clothing with partial armor. The alternate shows him bald with casual attire. In my mind, the main version represents his time as an active assassin, while the bald one was for when he settled down with Chie. His third just looks good. In the art book, it stated that he was popular in Japan because of his tragic settings, and he was also popular with Kung Fu fans. I wonder what happened that they replaced him with Maxi later on. Next up, let's tackle Hwang. Finally, someone who's not a short king and still younger than me. Hwang was a touchy subject at the time. When the arcade version was coming out in Korea, having a samurai like Mitsurugi as the face of the game didn't set well due to historical tensions, so they swapped Mitsurugi's model with him. Hwang lost his parents at a young age. They were people with a strong sense of justice. The game doesn't elaborate further, but somehow that led to their downfall. Hwang grew up hardened, and to learn how to fight, he joined Song Dejong. Hwang quickly became the best student in Song Dejong and received private lessons from his master Sung Han Myung. His master was considering adopting him as a son. He already had a talented child, but the problem was that it was a she. War broke out between Japan and Korea, and Hwang was the first to volunteer to defend his country. Around that time, rumors began circulating about a legendary patriot sword in the West. Believing it might help in the war, Hwang set off to find it by government orders. Our first stage is the famous Noto Castle. Hwang was ordered to investigate the pirates there, but he got caught by none other than Mitsurugi. As I said, Hwang was originally a replacement for Mitsurugi in the arcade version. He shares many of his moveset and is basically a clone, though he got his own kicks and a few unique strings later on. I like Mitsurugi, so I automatically like Hwang as well. After defeating Mitsurugi, Hwang steals his sword and escapes the castle. I like how it's called Nippon Blade, which basically means Japanese blade. We then travel back to our dojo before leaving for the west, where we encounter our master Sung Han Myung for one final lesson. Han Myung is a secret character and a clone of Hwang, so he's a clone of a clone. We have to survive his attacks for 20 seconds. Well done, I've taught you all I know. Take my sword and carry on the long blade technique. We gain the sword Mountain Breaker. It has low defense but makes up for it with its light weight. We then travel to the canal and you guessed it, we face our favorite assassin Li Long. And being the good boy he is, Li Long poisons us before the battle starts. We have to defeat him using only throws. Hwang's 1+3 throw is the same as Mitsurugi's, but his 2+3 throw is one of the best grabs in fighting game history. After the fight, we pick up the sword Thunderous Fire and move on. It's a well-rounded weapon. Next, we head north to the desert, the same place where we usually fight Hwang in other character stories. Here, Seung Mi-na, our master's daughter, finally appears. She's also searching for Soul Edge and has been secretly following us. Listen to me. Go back to your father. Never! I will never go back without the Patriot Sword. Since we're not enemies, we don't have to defeat Seung Mi-na by slashing her down. Instead, we have to break her weapons. As I mentioned before, weapons have durability, which determines how many attacks they can take before breaking. When a character is disarmed, they enter a universal unarmed moveset. You can't guard effectively in this mode, and your attacks behave like kicks in weapon mode. It's a shame this mechanic didn't return in later games. After defeating Seung Mi-na, she returns home and we continue our journey to the Colosseum. We face 4 enemies, 2 familiar, 2 new ones. The fight gets ugly, especially with Mitsurugi using Kujiro's sword. We're basically the same character, only he has longer range. So to beat him, I had to break his weapon. Our reward is the Falcon, a heavy weapon with extremely high stats. We then travel to Greece and hear directly from the gods. You, the warrior searching for the evil sword Soul Edge, survive my test and prove your worth. We're then pitted against Sophitia, the girl who received an oracle from Hephaestus. This is one of the hardest fights in the game. We have to defeat 3 opponents using juggle combos, and 2 of them even regenerate health very quickly. I just couldn't consistently land juggles with the Falcon due to its low startup frames, so I changed my weapon and tried again until I won. We're rewarded with the Sword of Dawn by Hephaestus himself. Holding it gives us the sense that we must destroy Soul Edge. The weapon itself has regenerating health properties, but otherwise it's pretty weak. Next up, the Money Pit with our friend Voldo. Thankfully, there's no poison or low HP gimmicks this time, but we do have to survive 3 different Voldos with very different weapons. After the fight, we get the location of Soul Edge and a new weapon made from solid gold, Midas Blade. Solid gold is a terrible material for swords. It's way too soft. Anyway, it's a high power weapon and a good pick for our final battle. We fight and defeat Cervantes and get our ending. Upon reaching Soul Edge, Hwang realizes how evil the sword is and returns home without it. He left young and returned a man. Then he sets out to fight in war between Korea and Japan. To be honest, it's an underwhelming ending, maybe because it was a last-minute addition to the arcade version, but the console version, that's way more interesting. Before I show you the ending, take a look at his ultimate weapon, Phantom. It's a hilt with a hidden blade. If you thought Kojiro's sword was long, take a look at this. Totally broken, but creative as hell for a fighting game. Now on to the ending. Hwang acknowledges how evil the sword is, but also knows his power. Thinking he can control it, he brings it back home. When he enters his dojang, he appears weak. One of his friends rushes in to help, and Hwang strikes him down while staring at the screen, completely possessed. The valiant hero who wanted to save his country may now be the one to doom it. Such a tragic ending. In the alternate ending, he realizes that the sword can't help him at all and throws it away. When he returns home, his master is happy to see him and finally says he wants to adopt him, but Hwang refuses, saying he's not ready and still needs to protect his country. We then see him awkwardly raising the Phantom Blade I equipped him with in the air, a much better conclusion than the arcade version. His costumes are pretty solid. The main one feels like his day-to-day gear, while the alternate looks like training attire. The shoulder armor makes no functional sense when his chest is exposed, but it does look cool. His third costume is okay, but I'm not a fan of the silhouette. It makes him look too bulky. It actually looks way better in the concept art. I also read that he has a dragon tattoo beneath the bandages that we never get to see. I went and checked in SoulCalibur 6, but unfortunately it wasn't there. Next up, let's play as Seung Mi-na, daughter of Seung Myung. Having been born into a strict family of martial arts teachers, Mi-na grew up surrounded by weapons. She has excellent knowledge of martial arts and her horse sword technique is superior even to her father's. However, because of her quote-unquote cute looks, she was teased by the neighborhood boys and treated like a girl. There were a lot of beaten boys in Mi-na's neighborhood. The thing with Mi-na is that her father wants an obedience lady, but Mi-na is not the one to obey anyone. Just like Hwang's story, we entered the war period in Korea, but unlike Hwang, Mi-na couldn't enter the military to help defend her country. But she heard about the Patriot sword Soul Edge and thought the only way she could help was to obtain it. So she decided to secretly follow Hwang on his journey to find Soul Edge. But she was discovered by her father while packing her things. Her father tells her, what if it was a scheme and Soul Edge is not what you think? You old fart, you could have tried stopping Hwang as well. But of course Mi-na doesn't listen and goes anyway. Playing as Mitsurugi, we pass an old temple where we fought Seung Mi-na. That's exactly where we start our journey. We have limited time to defeat him. She's been running away away from her father and his students, and now she's resting at this temple for a bit. That's when she encounters Mitsurugi. After the fight, she escapes before her father finds her. Our next stop is the Shrine of Confined Demons, where we usually encounter the Rock. Mi-na heard that a weapon capable of manipulating the human spirit rests here. She thought maybe this could be Soul Edge. Upon entering the shrine, we encounter Rock as expected. We have to defeat Rock 3 times in a row as he regenerates health. A tough fight, but Seung Mi-na isn't a weak character. Her 222 string can basically one-shot Rock because of his low defense weapon. Inside the shrine, we find the Tiger Fang. Just like the weapon Mitsurugi found here, it drains HP while attacking. I like how the game sticks with the cursed weapon theme for everything we loot here. Next up, Seung Mi-na sneaks into Noto Castle. And like always, Taki attacks us to take back the weapon we stole from the shrine. Go away, it's mine now. Man, this girl is a bully. Just like all the fights here, we have limited time. Taki is a terrible matchup for us because of her speed, so I spammed 1-1-1s to have a better chance. After her defeat, Mi-na steals a long-handled sword from the castle and jumps on ship to China. This weapon is fast, but it has 0 redeeming qualities. Mi-na then boards a raft. You know the drill, Li Long should appear now. I have to point out something. This game doesn't usually give you the weapon you need for the next stage, and here is the worst example of that. We have to defeat Li Long with grabs. The game gave us a low damage fast attacking weapon, but the weight of the weapon doesn't affect the grab animation. So if we bring the long-handled sword, we just handicapped ourselves here. After defeating Li Long, he apologizes and gives us a weapon? He usually just jumps in the river, but okay. Our new weapon is Nagamaki. It's by far our best polearm. We then finally catch up with Hwang in the desert. Please go home, your father must be worried. No, I will never go back until I find the Patriot Sword. Just like before, we have to disarm the opponent. Fighting Hwang like this made me realize how many of their kicks are similar. They even both have the back forward 4 kick, high hoops, which is a terrible move. It's such a clever way of showing they both trained under the same master. Speaking of moves, Seung Mi-na has a beefy command list. She has combinations that most characters don't have, although many of her moves are unsafe, some even on hit. Yet I still don't mind her fighting style because of how different she feels. After the fight, Hwang acknowledges Mi-na's power and gives up. Continue your search. I'll rest here a while. Hwang is such a humble man. Next up, Eurydice Shrine, where we usually fight Sophitia. Just like Hwang, she also finds God here. You are a strong-willed woman. Defeat her and you will receive the sword. And suddenly, Sophitia, emotional goddess, appears to fight us. Just like most shenanigan fights in this temple, we have to fight Sophitia more than once, and she regenerates in 2 of them. After the fight, the god gives us the divine spear halberd. Well, halberds are technically not spears. Anyway, the gods tell us take this weapon and destroy the evil sword. It's pretty funny because on the previous page he scammed us that he will give us the sword. Next is Germany, and the 2 16-year-old bullies with weapons larger than their size finally meet. No one may pass, not even a little girl like you. Little girl? I'll show you who's a little girl. Ah, kids these days. We have to defeat Siegfried in 22 seconds. After his defeat, Mi-na searches the castle and finds Morningstar. I'm pretty sure that's not exactly a Morningstar, but who cares at this point? It's a high defense weapon. Next up is the money pit with Voldo. And unlucky us, Mi-na got injured between all the traps and she has no health. The best option here is to perform a ring out because the arena itself is small this time. After Voldo expires, we get Versus Nose and the Sickle Spear. This Sickle Spear is a fast weapon with high defense and miserable attack power. Lastly, we travel to Spain. After defeating Cervantes, she tried to pick up Soul Edge and bring it back home, but it was too heavy and made her fall to the ground. Then she thinks to herself, this could not be the sword of salvation. This sword took the soul of this fighter and made him a demon. She abandoned the swords and came back home. She was expecting a scolding, but her father welcomed her with a smile. Seung Mi-na is basically Siegfried in reverse. Instead of a psychopathic demon baby, she's just a good kid. Her ultimate weapon is the spiked mace, which is not a mace for sure, and the blade in the middle is useless. Anyway, it's a good weapon that recovers durability over time. Her arcade endings lean even more into lighthearted jokes. It basically continues from when she reaches home. Her father thinks she just slacked off when she ran away, and when she explains that she was fighting this Soul Edge guy, he performs a vertical attack. The execution here is very neat. You should perform a sidestep by pushing down up to dodge his attack. If you fail, he says you haven't become an accomplished fighter, then continues teaching you in hopes of one day replacing him. If you succeed, he recognizes your skills, and now you should marry Hwang? So he can adopt him as a son? Okay, first off, shouldn't this happen in the other ending? And more importantly, there's a 9-year age gap and she's not even 18 yet. Remember when I said Seung Mi-na is Siegfried in reverse? I guess that extends to their fathers as well. Luckily she runs away again with a letter stating she's not physically and spiritually ready yet. That only leaves her costumes, and to be honest, as iconic as they look, they're nothing special in my opinion. I like her third costume the most. It has an odd color palette with the dominant pink and the red-green contrast, but overall she has a sharp silhouette because of her hair shape, which makes her recognizable. So far I covered half the roster and we faced them several times in Edge Master mode. I guess by now you would be familiar with the setting and how these characters are scattered throughout the map. It really makes the game feel more alive and makes every encounter just as meaningful. Playing in any other order may even change your perspective on these characters. I wish more fighting games would do that with their roster, and that's the brilliance of this game. If you've stayed with me this far, I sincerely thank you. Please consider supporting the channel with a like or a subscribe. Comments are appreciated as well.
Now hold your horses. This is the future Hwang is talking to you, one that doesn't look like a terrorist. What you've been watching was a compilation video of my part 1 and 2 of Soul Edge Retrospectives, which we mastered audio. Now, as you may have known, I've been working on my SoulCalibur 3 retrospective, but I'm going to have an eye surgery soon, so I wanted to upload something to keep you occupied. If you're new here, I also have SoulCalibur 1 and 2 retrospectives, which I'm very proud of. But if you're watching this video for the second time, I humbly thank you. Now continue on with the show. Hello, stranger. Welcome back to the stage of history. This is the second part of the ultimate Soul Edge retrospective.
Let's kick off the second part as Sophitia. The most important thing about Sophitia is her fate. She would not tell us. And still to this day, we don't know. Sophitia was born in Greece. Many have turned away from the older gods, but our baker girl still believes in them and prays to the goddess Athena every day. One morning as she was bathing in a forest spring, a dazzling light appeared before her. The light formed the shape of a man. The man told her he was Hephaestus, and conveniently he shows up right when she is naked. Do not fear, I only want you to receive my oracle. I hope oracle isn't the name of his dick. The god gave a 2-page speech about why Soul Edge is bad and why she should journey across the world and destroy it. Sophitia wasn't confident in her skills, but Hephaestus encouraged her, saying she hadn't forgotten the Olympian gods and that only she can hear them because of that. She then traveled to his temple to acquire the arms he wanted to gift her. There she was tested by a mirror match. Sophitia has a more complicated moveset compared to other characters. She has extra input for a grab, weird kick commands, a Mishima style slide, reversals, and so many mix-up options. After beating herself to a pulp, instead of just starting her journey, she gets teleported to America. And lo and behold, Rock shows up and says, "Put down your weapons." But God told Sophitia to fight him, so she obeys. This is the first fight where we have to ring out the enemy to win. After his defeat, God speaks again. "Sophitia, you are getting better. I shall give you this." And we get the Gaia sword. It's an overall improvement to our default gear and it can regenerate health, even though it has System Shock carved into the shield. Next up is the Demon Shrine. With Rock defeated, we'll fight Voldo here. He's juiced up with demon power and regenerates health like crazy. After releasing Voldo from his evil spirit, we take his weapon and give it to God. In return, he gives us a useless weapon called the Swordbreaker. As you can see, it has 1 power and 2 defense. Unless you actually want to break the opponent's sword, this weapon is inferior to anything we ever get. And stupid me, I trusted this game and equipped it. Little did I know my next opponent is Seung Mi-na, and the fight requires me to survive her attacks for a set amount of time. And in this sort of trial, you can't damage the enemy's weapon. After the time limit ends, her father shows up and she runs away. Poor Sophitia then travels to the desert. There she realizes she was followed by none other than Taki. Taki always wants her shrine weapon back, and we basically steal it with the whole roster. The kicker in this fight is that Sophitia is tired and winded from the desert, so we have low health. This surprisingly took me a lot of tries. Finally, I was able to beat her by breaking her weapon. The irony is that I didn't do it with the Swordbreaker. For some reason, Taki had a fire blade and dropped it as she escaped. This fire blade is our best weapon so far, with low weight and high power stats. Next up is the Colosseum, and God really wants us to win here. I mean, yeah, some random arena match is clearly more important than finding the evil sword that's corrupting the world. But now that God approves, let's highlight one of the more important mechanics in this game, dealing with a downed opponent. You see, a downed opponent has many wake-up options, and there's really no reliable way to deal with them. So like running away from a time bomb, you have to back off right after your attack knocks the enemy down. Otherwise, you have to guess what the enemy will do when they get up. But there are two ways to capitalize on a downed opponent: a jump attack that lunges downward and deals massive damage, or a character-specific move that hits grounded enemies. The first option is universal and does more damage, but the opponent can roll away and punish you, even if you execute it perfectly. The second option is much safer but usually weaker, unless you're Sophitia. She goes down on them like she means it. But the best one I think is Rock. He basically sits on the enemy. It has such a big hitbox and range that it can be used from almost any distance. And the worst is Taki. It's slow and super linear, so the enemy can easily sidestep them, just like with jump attacks. After Mortal Kombat, including tomboy Seung Mi-na, we get probably the lamest weapon in the game, the Blue Crystal Rod. It's a highly defensive weapon with zero attack power. Next up is the Secret Treasury. If Voldo is defeated, then I guess we have to fight Taki here. Ah, I was right. And she's still looking for her sword. Well, it's not a money pit stage without some kind of a gimmick, so we're poisoned by Taki. The Blue Crystal Rod has good HP recovery that basically cancels out the poison. But come on, it has abysmal damage. Gaia's sword basically does the same thing with better stats. After Taki's defeat, we get Rapier from the treasury. It's 1.4 times longer than our default sword and it has okay damage, but you don't slash with rapiers, it's a stabbing sword. Anyway, Voldo wasn't here with Virtue's note, so we still don't know where Soul Edge is. That's why we go to Germany. God speaks to us again about none other than Siegfried, basically telling us we can fix him. So Sophitia goes to our bad boy Sieg and tells him, "Listen to me, you are under the Wicked Source control, I can wake you." Siegfried, being the emo boy he is, replies, "Maybe I don't want to wake up." Wake me up inside. Upon breaking his neck and knots, Siegfried is freed from the dark side. Imagine if this was the canon ending. Our reward here is the Apollo sword. I just don't know why the shield is a shrunken Roman scutum. This weapon is basically all of our swords combined into one. It recovers HP and has high attack power. We then reach Spain and finally beat Cervantes. For some reason, the AI turns on God mode and keeps blocking all my attacks. After defeating Soul Edge, Sophitia shouts, "Hephaestus!" and strikes Soul Edge in half. Then God thanks us for saving Cervantes. Her armor and weapon shrink to the size of her palm and turn into a light representing Athena, Ares, Nike, and a few others the game doesn't bother to name. We then get a sneak peek of Cassandra in the bakery. This was such a funny adventure. The funniest part is Hephaestus himself. He's a miserable god in Greek mythology, yet here he's represented as a wise and just figure. Our ultimate weapon is Valkyrie, which is still in the SoulCalibur games. The funny thing is, it's completely Nordic instead of Greek. Obtaining this weapon unlocks a costume for Sophitia named Sophitia. It's just an unarmored version of her main costume. Her arcade ending is another bait, but a funny one. As Sophitia destroys Soul Edge, a PNG of Hephaestus appears. I can't do this ending any justice, just listen.
Sophitia, you have destroyed the evil Soul Edge. Don't you realize that you rescued those people who were seduced by evil? Now they live in peace, not even realizing what had happened to them. Although I never gave you the power to do so, take a rest and try to heal your tired, wounded body.
After God tells her to take a rest, Sophitia starts walking into a forest. Here we can trigger the alternate ending and yeah, that's some pixelated woman. You can unlock this costume by getting all the weapons in the game. Speaking of costumes, Sophitia hasn't gone through many changes in her design. Her outfit is pretty iconic with an instantly recognizable silhouette. I also like her second costume. It feels less divine thanks to the brown hair. As far as I know, it's only in Soul Edge and she's naturally blonde, but as a kid I thought that was her without her powers. Her third costume is so different compared to whatever she gets in later games that I love it just for that. But it looks more Scottish than Greek. As our next character, I'll be playing as The Rock. He's a 5'8" giant. I'm 5'8". I'm sure I'm not a giant. The nickname Rock comes from his strength. He's actually an Englishman named Nathaniel William Adams. His father ran a curio store specializing in rare weapons. Rock, look at the Soul Edge. Isn't it a beauty? I don't know if I should be more concerned about his father throwing a demon sword to his his child, or the fact that he calls him Rock. The whole family was aboard the ship at the time, and the storm was raging. Rock was crying in fear, but his father was too excited about obtaining Soul Edge to notice anything. That's when they were suddenly attacked by pirates. And you know who the only pirate in the roster is? Cervantes. Under the command of Verci, the guy who built the money pit, Cervantes was sent to capture Soul Edge. The ship didn't survive the attack, and Rock's parents presumably died. Only Rock remained, waking up on an unfamiliar shoreline. He learned to survive on his own. Eventually, he encountered the native people of the area. They ran from the 5'8" white giant, but one orphan of the tribal warfare named Bangu did not. They became close, and in no time Rock was accepted into society again. But his memories were fading. The only thing he could remember was the word Soul Edge. He thought to himself, maybe if he found Soul Edge, he could recover his lost memories or even find his parents. So he set off on an adventure across the sea. But before reaching the sea, Rock caught sight of an inhuman shadow in a sacred site. The man veered as Rock approached, and assuming a strange position, he suddenly attacked. After the fight, Rock pushes Voldo from the edge of the monolith we fought on. As he falls to his fate, he drops a piece of paper. Rock can't read at first, but then he figures out the word Soul Edge inside. He picks up a stone club from the area, then sets out in the direction of the setting sun. This stone club is an extremely heavy weapon with high damage. You may think the weight is too much, but Rock's forward 111 is so fast that it doesn't matter. Next up is the Shrine of Confined Demons, where we usually face Rock when playing as other characters. As we know, we fought a possessed Rock here, and we do get possessed by grabbing a weapon inside this shrine, turning us into a homicidal demon with a voice in our head saying kill them, cut them down. But unlike when we fought Rock here, instead of regenerating health, we take constant health damage. It's kind of disappointing. Here we fight Mitsurugi, Taki, and our doppelganger. The funny thing is, the doppelganger actually does get regenerating health. After the fight, we gained a Crescent Axe without an E. Speaking of which, his main weapon also doesn't have an E. Crescent Axe is a terrible weapon. Not only it is weak, it also reduces your health with every attack. Next, we reach the desert. Here Rock starts searching for Soul Edge, and he doesn't find it obviously, but he does find a man and a woman, Hwang and Mi-na. Just imagine these two finally reuniting, only for a barbarian to show up shouting, I need that weapon. We have to defeat these two using grabs, which again doesn't make sense, but at least Rock's grabs look amazing and very painful. He even has a unique command throw. Upon their defeat, we realize that they did find a weapon here, but it was only a Warhammer. Warhammer is a high risk, high reward weapon. It pretty much has max stats besides weight and defense, but it doesn't matter because the forward 111, as I said, can go through anything. Next up, the good old Colosseum. Rock thinks he can win Soul Edge here. Okay, I get it now, he's stupid. Our reward is Twin Axe. Again, no E. It's a defensive weapon with okay power stat. We then reach Ostrinesburg Castle. Rock joins the attacking force just to raid the castle armory, and obviously we face Siegfried here with a time limit. But Lilong is also here. We didn't pass this place with Lilong in his Edge Master mode. Rock's Edge Master mode is not very consistent with others, I think. After the fight, Rock picks up another weapon called Cross Axe. This is an amazing weapon with balanced stats. Then out of nowhere, the game tells us Rock went to the island written in Voldo's note, but he couldn't even read. Yet somehow even read the location of all the traps? But who would even be there if we already killed Voldo? Taki, for some reason. She does something to us before the fight, so we start with low health, making that whole trap section completely meaningless. We then pick up a comically large double tomahawk and fuck off to Spain. But not just to find Soul Edge. Rock noticed the name Cervantes in Verci's note, and it triggered his memories of being attacked by pirates. Upon reaching the Spanish port, he quickly recognizes the ship that attacked him and his parents. There he finds Cervantes and attacks the man head-on. His ending is pretty underwhelming. He basically learns that he should move on and leave the past alone, so he returns to Bangu. His final weapon is a great axe without an E. It's a ridiculously high power weapon that also heals you. His arcade ending isn't much better, but it's very corny. First he remembers his parents in pixel art, then he has to decide if he wants to search for them or return to Bangu. And both options have such funny voice acting. Especially when he says,
Rock, don't you feel lonely without your mother and father?
This earth gave me my life to live with you. Therefore, the earth is my only true parent.
I I don't know.
Rock is undoubtedly the weakest character so far in terms of story, but his design is pretty iconic, especially his main costume with the bear skin on his head. I like how it changes to other animals in the upcoming games. His other outfits though aren't that amazing, and he still doesn't look like Triple H yet, so no points for that either. Rock, like Li Long, was replaced in later games by a blank muscle man named Astaroth, and just like Maxi, I hate him too. As for our 7th character, let's finally play as the bait herself, Taki. I'm not that familiar with her moveset, so I hit practice mode first. She's got some excellent kicks and strings. She can even dodge using a formal motion that ends in an aerial uppercut followed by a kick that can ring out your enemies. Taki is fast, hard-hitting, and even has a side switch jump. She even has a reversal and a command throw, but if you have a keen eye, you'll quickly realize most of her high damage and gimmicky moves are two-dimensional, meaning if the enemy starts sidestepping, Taki just falls apart. Now that we're getting nerdy, let's talk about the game's unblockable moves as well. They're usually performed with a more complex input unique to the character, and the payoff is a slow but a powerful attack. It's unsafe, but Taki's version is faster than most. Okay, let's crack open the book and... wait, this girl is only 5 centimeters shorter than the giant Rock? Well, I'm a too, I guess. Bait me. Taki is a ninja and a demon hunter. Raised as an orphan by her master Toki, she travels across Japan exterminating demons. She's also a blacksmith and forged her favorite weapon herself, Rekimaru, a blade with supernatural powers. But as rumors of an evil sword named Soul Edge began spreading, her Rekimaru started weakening. In her last battle with the demons, something felt off. This can't be possible. I usually kill these things in one stroke. Thinking Soul Edge was the cause, she set out to hunt it down to save her beloved sword. I wish I was that sword. Our journey begins at the shrine of the confined demons with a possessed wait, Voldo? We have to perform a ring out to win. Did I just see jiggle physics? After defeating him, we literally turn Voldo into a weapon called Iron Fan. It's a terrible weapon that cuts Taki's already low damage even further. Taki then realizes the shrine sword is missing and that's why the demons won't stop spawning. So she sets off to recover the sword, and I think we already know who stole it. Mitsurugi. She finds him in Noto Castle and we get one of those classic time limit battles. For some reason, the AI suddenly goes ultra instinct and reads my every input, but eventually an overhead kick takes him down. We reclaim the stolen sword Mekimaru and reseal the shrine. Mekimaru hits hard, but to stay on brand with shrine weapons, it drains your HP. Next up is the canal, and just like every other character, we face Li Long here. He falls in the river muttering "Chie," and Taki left saying, I guess he was more than just a thief. Next up is the Colosseum. Surprisingly, Voldo is our final opponent. Isn't his soul sealed in our fan? Anyway, our reward is Jute. It's weak but can break weapons effectively. It's more accurately called Jite, used in Edo period by the police. Ah, Taki, arrest me with your Jite. Next we travel to Eurydice Shrine in Greece where we meet Sophitia. You're searching for Soul Edge, aren't you? What if I am? If you want it,
Then you'll have to take it.
as with most Sophitia fights, it involves shenanigans, and this time we have to fight our doppelganger. She defeated me bare-handed, twice. After the fight, we pick up Sophitia's second weapon, Gaia Sword, and we hear Hephaestus himself destroy Soul Edge. Next, we head to Germany to steal some juicy weapons from Ostrinnesberg Castle. We meet none other than Siegfried here. I have no time to play with a kid like you. Why, you impetuous female! After beating him, we find a kunai. Don't use it, it's trash. Then it's off to the money pit where we fight Li Long again. He's been following us after his defeat, and obviously we're poisoned. Li Long's attack was more furious ever. I speak broken English and even I'm surprised. After that, we receive Tanto and leave this accursed island to America? Taki had heard tales that the pirate Cervantes found Soul Edge here, and since we didn't find Voldo's note this time, I guess it makes sense to go around looking for leads. But why didn't she come here in the first place? Upon reaching America, she asks around about Soul Edge. Unlucky us, Rock was around. Soul Edge? Soul Edge! This is the second fight that requires a ring out to win. It's tough because the arena is huge and Rock can disarm us with a single guard. My only option was to bait him to the edge, then do my backflip to flank him. Taki checks in with the locals, only to find Cervantes hasn't been seen in ages. Well, that was a huge waste of time. We then head directly from America to Spain, where Rekimaru weakens even more. Taki knows she's getting close to Soul Edge. You finally found me. I'll take your sword's power and your soul. After defeating Cervantes, Taki's armor and weapon break. I mean, did she even have armor to begin with? She then examines Soul Edge and notes it's more powerful than even the the Jello Fury, the demon she sealed back at the shrine. She returns home and repurposes Soul Edge into a loyal weapon. Kind of a bland ending, but hey, at least she didn't turn into a monster. In the arcade mode, the endings play out the same, but this time the swords get thrown at you, and you can choose to catch them or not. But it doesn't change the ending much. The only difference is whether you fight the Jello Fury PNG with magic or with your new ultimate weapon. Finally, let's talk outfits. There's a reason hers hasn't changed much since this game. It's iconic, just a plain bodysuit, a mask, and a ponytail. Her other costumes are okay, but none of them stand out to me as much. Taki didn't get enough in-game material in this entry, despite having a lot of content in the art book. I'm not sure if this is only the case in the international version, but there are mentions of her connection to Chie and that her master Toki ordering her to kill the monk who saved her. I know it's just a couple of text blurbs, but her encounter with Li Long could have been way more interesting. We have 2 more to go, and it's time for Voldo to take center stage. The tale of the tallest character in Soul Edge starts in Italy. America has just been discovered and Europe was entering an era of colonization and war. The time was right for merchants to make a fortune. One such merchant was Verci, the guy who built the money pit we fought in every time. This guy was a weapons dealer, and his nickname was the Merchant of Death. And what would such a merchant do if he hears about Soul Edge? The guy wanted it so bad. His brothers tried to stop him, but he used his connections to send them off to war. This man was dangerous even to his own family. He paid mercenaries and even pirates to search the 7 seas for the demon sword, but to no avail. And all this time, poor Voldo, his right-hand man, was leading the search. Disappointed with the results, Verci sailed the seas himself to find the weapon. Along the way, he found many riches as well. All was good until he heard news of war breaking out, the Italian Wars, a real historical conflict where Spain, France, and the Holy Roman Empire tore through Italy in a brutal fight for dominance. It led to the destabilization of wealthy merchant families, constant power shifts, and the sacking of cities. It's a nice reference, but bad news for Verci, because he was one of the targets, and to return was suicide. He lost his home and all his wealth. The only thing he had left was his ship and the treasure he found. Verci became mad from rage. He found an island and ordered his crew to dig a massive pit. They built a vault, buried all his treasure, armed it with traps, and then Voldo killed the entire crew so they wouldn't give away the vault's location. Then Voldo, for his loyalty, was spared and left to guard the treasure in the pit as his reward. By the time all of this happened, the Italian wars had ended, but Verci never made it back to Italy. He died. Poor Voldo, trapped in that dark and lonely pit 50 meters deep, went blind and insane. He's now 43 years old, but his talent for murder is still intact. Voldo is just a puppy who had a bad owner. It doesn't justify whatever he did, but maybe life wouldn't have turned out this way if he had a better master. As Voldo, we start in Verci's money pit. The poor Voldo gone mad from all these years alone hears his dead master's ghostly voice in his ears. Voldo, protect my treasure! The first to reach the money pit is Sophitia, our first opponent. For such a fast character, Voldo has a lot of range. His moveset is varied and hard to predict. He can dive like crazy when he crouches or do a high damaging move while turned away from the opponent. He even has a command throw, and his unblockable move is horizontal unlike many others on the roster. Voldo enjoyed slaying the intruder, then the voice of his master spoke again. Well done, Voldo. Feel free to use another weapon from my treasury. Voldo selected the razor-sharp Full Moon. Then immediately another intruder comes into the money pit. Full Moon is a weak weapon with high defense, also known as trash. Our next opponent is the juggle-only Hwang. This one proved a bit more of a challenge because Voldo's launcher is a bit slow. The pieces of Hwang had not cooled when the voice returned to Voldo's mind. Soul Edge! Oh boy, I'm happy I couldn't read as a child. The ghostly Verci orders Voldo to search for Soul Edge, and for the first time in decades, Voldo leaves the pit. Our first destination, Orskrinisberg Castle. Here, Voldo doesn't even choose a side, he just comes in to search the armory. Like always, Siegfried is here to stop us. After slaying him, Voldo searches the castle and picks up Iron Claw, a fast weapon for a fast character with no other redeeming qualities. Next we travel to Spain, but that's the end of our journey. Voldo recalls meeting Cervantes here. He was hired by Verci after all, and we find him there. Ah yes, Verci. I have his swords. Too bad he's dead. Now join him. We can't damage Cervantes. Instead, we have to survive for 20 seconds to win. If I can't kill you, I will banish you to the ends of the earth. And just like that, Voldo suddenly disappears. We find ourselves in America. After wandering around, Bangu finds Voldo and brings him home to none other than Rock. So that's how they face off in Rock's campaign. Anyway, he wasn't happy to meet us. Like Cervantes, you can't damage Rock. Instead, you have to ring him out. If only the arena wasn't this large. After the the fight, Voldo leaves to the east. I'm amazed he didn't kill Rock and Bangu. He then finds himself in Notor Castle and searches its armory, but is found by none other than Mitsurugi. What kind of a monster are you? Now, calling Voldo a monster is an interesting take. Is it because of his attire or because he's the tallest character in the game? After defeating Mitsurugi in limited time, we gain Guillotine, a heavy weapon with outstanding damage. Next, we reach the famous canal, and like always, Li Long attacks us with his poison. With this new weapon, every fight feels like a joke, especially with Voldo's down 2-2 string. Defeated, Li Long gives Voldo the antidote and the weapon Poison Arrow. Wait, instead of running away, he gave Voldo a present? The same thing happened with Seung Mi-na. I just can't connect the dots with this guy. He's so weird. Poison Arrow doesn't have high stats, but it deals cheap damage. We then reach the secret arena. As Voldo entered the Great Colosseum, his blind eyes could not read the sign. How does he enter without knowing it's a Colosseum? After defeating 4 of our previous opponents, not including the pieces of Hwang, we are awarded Buffalo Horn. This weapon has the same damage as Guillotine, but with only 2 points in weight, and it can recover health. Instead of going back to Spain, Voldo travels east to the desert. I mean, he's a blind man traveling all over the world. Maybe he just made a mistake. Here we finally face Taki, and because she backstabbed us before the fight, we face her with no health. If it was any other character, it would have been easy, but Taki is a fast character who can one-shot me with this low health. After her defeat, Voldo searches the ruins in the desert and finds the weapon Pata instead of Soul Edge. Man, you fought Cervantes, you know where the sword is. Do you have ADHD or something? Anyway, Pata is an amazing weapon with high defense and balanced stats. We then finally get back to Spain to fight Cervantes again. Look who's back, where she's lapdog. Oh, Cervantes knows Voldo is a puppy too. After taking down Cervantes, Voldo takes Soul Edge back to the money pit, forever tasked to guard it. I pity this character. He went so far for a man who treated him like a dog. As for our ultimate weapon, it's Soul Edge, the third and final variant of it. This one is more than twice as long as our normal Qatar. The first branch of the arcade ending is the same, but with Verchi's 3D model and the toggleable first-person camera.
Hey, Voldo, you fulfilled my wish.
But the second one, we have to keep pushing buttons until Voldo strokes Soul Edge so hard it breaks. Unfortunately, this is a joke ending. There's no saving this little puppy as Verchi's ghostly voice continues haunting him. That only leaves his costumes, and boy oh boy, don't blame me if I say he has the best ones. His main outfit feels like something out of Ishikita Amano, with all the little details and texture work. But it's not just a simple design like the others. Voldo's main costume is filled with symbolism that reflects both his personality and unorthodox fighting style. It's deliberately chaotic, defined by extreme asymmetry, from the single missing shoe to the uneven armor, and the coverings over his eyes and mouth point to his blind obedience. It's basically perfect. His second shows up in the Edgemaster mode ending after obtaining Soul Edge. Maybe he found some kind of a cure with those comically large goggles. And his third is my favorite fan design in this game. Voldo is one of the few characters who never missed a game, and his design is always special. A perfect character, even if he's like a jobber. Lastly, we have Cervantes. This might be one of the more interesting campaigns, because you already own his ultimate weapon, Soul Edge. Cervantes de Leon is immortal, and his battle style is possessed. I haven't talked about most of these styles for other characters because they usually just have their own style. Cervantes' backstory is a tragic one. His father, Philip Leon, was a privateer, someone who raided ships in the name of the King of Spain. A sailor must always be strong and gentle, he once told his son. His father had gone out to plunder what he thought was an English merchant ship, not knowing it was actually a warship in disguise. Philip and his crew got massacred by cannons. The only thing that remained of him was his hat. Cervantes loved his father, and hearing that he died at sea devastated him. Believing his father's loyalty to the crown caused his death, Cervantes became a pirate and began a reign of terror across the Atlantic Ocean, showing no mercy to anyone. One day at his inn, the Black Tail, a messenger arrived, sent by Verchi, the merchant of death. He offered Cervantes a handsome reward if he could retrieve a weapon called Soul Edge. He found the sword after a year. It had been bought by Rock's family at a secret auction. With his crew and his ship Adrian, he attacked their vessel, and since then nothing had been heard from him. The campaign starts in Spain. No one is around until suddenly our spitting image appears out of nowhere. Could he be the pirate Cervantes? If the answer to that is yes, then who are we? I tried my best to translate the art book to figure out how long after he finds Soul Edge this campaign takes place, and I believe it's around 30 years. I could have tried translating more, especially for other characters, but that would have made this video take way longer to finish. Our first enemy is bogus Cervantes. He appears in his alternate costume and wields use normal swords instead of Soul Edge. Cervantes is a very fun character to play. He basically has full screen attacks like self-destruction and demon slaughter. He's also very fast. After the fight we gain main gauche. It's a French term for left hand. This weapon is weak but fast. Next up we leave Spain, leaving S only with pain. We reach Eurydice shrine in Greece. Here we fight Sophitia like always, and like always she has her regenerating abilities. The woman lay crumpled at his feet. Ha! Is this all the mighty god can do? Then the shrine became corrupted with evil energy from Soul Edge. We gained Defender as our reward. It's a high defense weapon with decent damage and speed. Next we reached the desert. Soul Edge was likely here once, and it's safe to assume it saw a lot of bloodshed around these ruins. This is also where Hwang and Seung Mi-na fought over who would find Soul Edge. But unlucky them, Soul Edge found them first. After fighting these kids, Cervantes takes Giroto from Hwang and leaves his body cooling in the sand. These fights are getting more violent. These weird looking swords are good at breaking weapons. Next, Soul Edge guides us to the shrine of confined demons. As usual, we fight possessed Rock here, and we have to wring him out to win. Curiously, Rock doesn't remember Cervantes. After defeating him, we take Katana from the shrine. But this time we don't gain a cursed weapon that drains HP upon attacks, cause Soul Edge drains its evil energy. These pair of katanas deal cheap damage. Next up, we travel to the canal, encountering Li Long who wants our weapon without realizing it's actually Soul Edge. To defeat him, we have to use throws. We then gain the three-bladed edge, a reminder of Li Long's foolish and vain attacks. It has high power and great speed. It also looks like a blender. Then we reach Oskinusberg Castle. Cervantes was attracted to this place by the smell of blood and war. The fields ran red and Cervantes looked truly satisfied. We face Siegfried like always. He's fighting the actual owner of Soul Edge at the very start of his journey. This is such a tragic outcome. Cervantes even felt a twinge of sympathy for the insane young man as he cuts his head clean off his shoulders. Yikes, he suffered the same fate as his father. Next we travel to the secret treasury to fight Voldo. We have to defeat him using juggle combos. The sight of Voldo's corpse made Cervantes chuckle. Where is she? I have the sword you and your servant been looking for. Ha 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 ha. We gain the weapon Serpent Tongue and leave. This is a broken weapon with extremely high speed. I found out you can even combo into it. We then return to Spain. We face 6 opponents here, including Hwang's dead cold body and Siegfried's decapitated head. After the fight, Cervantes starts to feel the sword is controlling him, but now he wants to become the sword's master. That's when Soul Edge takes its monster form and our final battle begins. Now, it's not like Cervantes is better than Soul Edge itself. After gaining his freedom, he goes on to create his vision of paradise by destroying the world. His main arcade ending is also the same.
Raise the anchor, me hearties. We shall change this world into our own hellish paradise.
But his alternate ending shows a different Cervantes, one who grieves over his beautiful hometown now in ruins, and to punish himself, he takes his own life. His costumes are amazing. His main one shows him after spending over 30 years with Soul Edge. He became a zombie-like creature with lifeless pale skin and a great-looking outfit. His alternate is how he looked before being completely possessed, I believe. In concept arts, he also had a mask that I really wish they kept, but his third costume is pretty stupid. Plate armor on his feet, no armor anywhere else, and a dumb generic eye patch. After finishing the game with all characters, Soul Edge itself is unlocked. It's basically Cervantes with some extra moves. When you beat arcade mode with it, you get a joke ending as well. Afterwards, if you finish arcade mode with Hwang and Seung Mi-na, the final character Song Hang-myung unlocks. He has a few extra moves, but mostly he's a clone. There are cheats out there that let you play as some NPCs with other characters' movesets, but that's about it. The game is finally over.
The legend will never die.
Let's add some more interesting details before wrapping up this retrospective. One crucial detail I left out until now is guard impact, another defining mechanic of the Soul series. It's essentially a parry system which you've seen opponents use on me several times. You perform it by pressing forward +3 or cross. It only works on weapon attacks, not kicks. Some characters instead get reversal moves for kicks. In the first arcade version of Soul Edge, triggering a guard impact drained your weapon durability, and it was simply a timed guard rather than a directional input. That changed in Soul Edge version 2. This version also included juggle combos and added 2 characters, a unique slot for Hwang and a playable Cervantes. This is the second all-weapon based 3D fighter after Battle Arena Toshinden. Next Generation Issue 12 stated that Soul Blade combines the best ingredients from Tekken, Virtua Fighter, and Battle Arena Toshinden into possibly the most complete fighting game to date. The game ran on the System 11 board, a collaboration between Sony and Namco. When it came to graphics, this game really showed the power of that system. It featured dynamic lighting, If you've noticed in my footage, the game even has a day-night cycle, which was very impressive for the time. At the helm of Soul Edge's technical soul was Hiroaki Yotoriyama, a motion capture and game design specialist who joined Namco in early 90s and had already worked on Tekken 2. He pushed for the use of passive marker motion capture, giving Soul Edge fighters a lifelike fluidity. When Soul Edge was adapted for PlayStation, Tsuruki Koniichi led the project as director, supported by co-director Ko Onda, together transforming the arcade engine into Soul Blade. Aside from the added Edgemaster mode and new endings, survival mode, time attack mode, and team battle were also introduced. A new orchestral soundtrack was created based on the arcade music and is still amazing to hear even today. A separate arrangement titled Han Super Session was also added. It captures that classic PS1 feel perfectly. Tekken director Katsuhiro Harada later noted that the console version of Soul Blade actually outsold Tekken early on. The development team at Namco responsible for Soul Edge hadn't yet called themselves Project Soul. They were simply part of Namco's internal staff, some of whom had worked on Tekken 2 and Matchbreakers. The same team would later create SoulCalibur, a series now in limbo but is still more well known than their earlier abandoned child Soul Edge. I've never played the first SoulCalibur game, and if this video gets 100 likes, I will do a video on it. Who am I kidding? I would be lucky if this gets even 1,000 views. I'll do it anyway just for you. If you've watched this far, please give this video a thumbs up and maybe even a sub to my channel. I've put a lot of effort into this video, and seeing people actually enjoy it really encourages me to continue. I also really need your feedback if you're willing to share, so please comment if I can improve on something. Otherwise, I'm PuriX and I may see you in the next video.